Is the eRank's grade tool wrong? Hey, I'm Pam Duthie, and I'm here to help you craft your career with creative marketing and artistic inspiration. So, if you're a crafty person looking to sell online in 2020 and 2021 and beyond, you're really going to want to subscribe to this YouTube channel. And today I want to talk about the eRank grades tool. Now, for those of you that don't know, I also work for eRank now. But videos in this video channel are my own opinion and are not sponsored or endorsed in any way by eRank. I first found eRank several years ago when looking for an ability to check where my items were ranking. So it was called Etsy Rank at the time. That was the perfect thing. And I dug into some other tools and I found the grades tool, and I rather enjoyed this tool. This helped you out with some SEO advice, telling you things that I just learned not that long ago that really helped growing my Etsy shop. Simple things like making sure your most important keywords were in your title and in your tags, perhaps even mentioned in the description for Google SEO. So I found this a super useful tool, but I didn't dig into it too often. I just had a look now and again and went, oh yeah, I really want to check on that. But what happened, often in groups I was in, people would post saying, I've got all A's, and other people would say, oh no, I've got 1 or 2 B's, I really need to get working. So I thought the thing we had to do was to sit back and work, and it was a good thing to get all A's. That was like a big tick at school. That was getting the gold star. And of course, not all my listings had A's. So I spent a bit of time digging in and changing up things to get A's. Thankfully, I had a little idea about SEO at the time, so I didn't actually destroy my shop. But it wasn't the best idea, and anyone who's just starting out with any kind of tools, anyone who's trying to grow anything with any tools, I will say right now, no matter what the tools say, don't change things that are already working. Now, for something like a grading tool, what you want to think about is this is kind of like a helpful resume builder, CV builder. It's telling you what boxes to fill in. It's telling you where to put your address, whether to sign off with sincerely or other terms. It's telling you where you should be putting your qualifications and your experience. It's not checking if you're applying for the right job or if your qualifications are relevant. And it's also obviously not checking if other people that are applying are more qualified. So I think of a grade tool a little bit like this. But the grades tool has been causing problems. People are finding these tools and they're diving in there and they're not looking at anything else. They're just going, grades, I need to be able to get an A grade. An A grade is super important. And they're killing some of their best listings by assuming that they have to make changes when really they do not. So does that mean that the grades tool is wrong? Well, no, a tool is only as good as the people who are using it, so you have to use it in conjunction with lots of other things. However, before I started working for eRank, and when I just started anything, I thought when people were doing these things, I just thought, oh, for goodness sake, right, we just have to teach the people. They're doing it wrong. They are using the tool wrong, so we have to teach them. However, over time with working with the eRank team, I began to realize that there's other things that we could do rather than saying everybody's using a tool wrong. If so many people are getting it wrong, then perhaps the tool needs to change. Now, I'm not taking credit for this. There's a team of clever people. I'm just letting you know what changes have happened, which I think is super cool. So, the eRank grades tool has changed, and hopefully this will be helpful for people. So let's dive into my computer and have a look. You get to the grades tool from your dashboard, listings, and then grades, obviously. And this is going to bring up the tool. Now, the first thing you might notice if you've used this tool before is at the minute in time, you can't see your grade. Now, there's a couple of reasons for this. Because of these changes, it's just not possible to show it because it would slow down the site so much at the minute in time. The team are looking at ways to improve this to bring your grade back because people love it. But it's also kind of useful because it means new people starting out who've just found this don't see a massive E grade on their bestseller and go, oh no, I've got to fix this. So that's a bit helpful. But quite rightly, people are worried because they're saying, well, I can't see my grade, so I don't know what listings I need to work on. So you've got to have a look, suggestions, or we're changing this name to tips because tips sounds more friendly. It's not saying you have to do this. It is just a tip. It's an idea of what you have to do. So the suggestions area, you can look at the listings that have the most suggestions, have the most tips. These are the ones that have the most potential opportunities. But you take that you look at that in conjunction with your visibility score from this page. So this first item here, yeah, it's got a lot of tips. It's got a lot of places I could possibly change it. But my visibility score is 99%. What that means is that listing is getting more daily views than 99% of other listings on Etsy. That's a banger. That's a good listing. So I really should not be touching that. Now, in the past, I know this listing had a C grade. It has some suggestions that I need to work on. It has some tips, some ways I can improve it. But the first step of the changes in this new grades tool is to look at other important factors. The grades tool is looking at factors from good SEO practices and also especially what Etsy tells us in the Etsy Seller Handbook. But bear in mind, and I spoke about this before, the advice that Etsy gives us firstly is generic advice, and it's also not all ranking advice. It's not saying if you do this you'll rank higher. For example, when they talk about using all 10 photographs, just having 10 photographs will not rank you higher. But having more photographs might help explain your item better to a customer. So if it helps your customer, it might help you convert to the sale more often, and that will help you rank higher. So this is where not all the things are necessarily helping with ranking. You might only have one photograph, and that might be all that you need. So these tools, the suggestions, you have to look at them with common sense. Why are you doing what you're doing? Is it important? Have you thought about it? So it's just a tip. It's just to say, have you thought about this feature? And if you go, yes, I have thought about that, it's not important. It literally is not important. So, well, as I say, this listing here that I have with all these suggestions, it used to be a C grade. But now when I go to my listing audits, and you can pick any of your listings, but remember you've got a quota of lookups. In a pro account, I can look up 200 times a day. So you don't want to just look into all your listings. Pick the ones that you've identified that might be important to look at. When I look at my guy, he's got an A grade now. And why is that? It is from this tips red bar. This listing has sold multiple times. This guy has made some sales recently. So we figured this was super important for all the SEO stuff in the world, for all that bland computer things. Some of the most important things are how are customers acting when they find your item in search. So if they're buying something loads, it doesn't matter if you've ticked all the boxes that the computer tells you to tick. The sale is a bigger factor. The sale is a big factor in how my item's going to rank. So if my item has recent sales, it's going to get a higher grade. So hopefully this is a help to people to say, whoa, totally don't touch this listing. At the minute in time, it is good enough. So you might see that some of your grades have changed. And this is because we are recognizing the work you've put in to get these sales. So we have now our little crown. I love this. We've got a little crown. We've got a little gold star badge saying, congratulations, this listing has sold recently. Be careful when modifying listings that have good sales history. And because this is now a grade A, people aren't going to feel like making loads of changes. Now, over time, this item sells much better at Christmas and isn't so great through the rest of the year. So this listing might fall down. By midsummer, this might be a C. Maybe that's the time to work on it because it's not flying high in the rankings. So hopefully that's a little bit more kind of transparent on which items we recommend you should be working on. And again, we see this listing has sold multiple times. Always be careful when modifying. So eRank couldn't warn you enough here. If it's got an A and it's making loads of sales and everything, leave well alone. And again, we have the 2 tips sections. Now, just to quickly explain this, by the way, if you're looking to improve your grade, the recommended tips are the ones that have the biggest impact on the grade. They're the things that can help you out the most. They're the things that can possibly impact ranking a bit more. So if you're looking to improve your grade, then those are the ones to do it. But I wouldn't focus even too much on the grades. Remember, it's not looking at if you're ranking for certain keywords. It's not looking at if you've picked good keywords. So the grades tool is handy for you to learn how to do SEO a bit better, but you have to use it in conjunction with all of the other tools. You have to look and say, is this actually a good listing for the keyword I'm trying to rank for? Is it good for the metrics that I'm telling Etsy? So you also have to dive into tools like the Keyword Explorer, the Keyword Tool, the Rank Checker. Find out, is this keyword good? Am I ranking for it? These are far more important. So don't concentrate too much on the grades. It's a nice tool for training. But honestly, once you know what you're doing to build a listing, you shouldn't be looking at this tool every day. You shouldn't be focusing on getting all A's. And I hope this little change has helped you understand a little bit better, and I hope it has improved things. The eRank grades tool wasn't wrong, but it wasn't what we expected it to be when we logged in. We wanted an A to mean something was good, and if it was an E, then people might have been quite rightly thinking they had to make some changes. So hopefully this improvement helps. Anyway, thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.